Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. We are live on a Tuesday as per usual. Welcome to the show, Roth from Wyoming. Looking very festive in the back there, my friend.
Yes. Thank you.
I
I
love
think
it.
nope. How about this way?
Yes, that way. Yes, I love the cowboy hat on top of the
Mhm,
tree.
mhm.
My cats would destroy that. They have been destroying our tree all Christmas since we put it up. We've had it up for a couple weeks, and it's just the Christmas season's stressful because you for cat owners, that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I mean, you come up with like ways to keep them off the tree, and you look online and there's all these like you buy some spray that has cinnamon in it and it'll keep them away.
Mm.
My cats don't care. And it just makes my eyes water
You
when
could,
I spray it.
I know, like, outside to keep, like, the dogs away from and, like, rabbits and
Mhm.
animals away from, like, our gardens and flowers and stuff, we, spray coyote piss on the ground.
See, I
You
might
could try that in the
maybe
house.
yeah, that'd be great in the house. Also, yeah, that'd be awesome. Also, there's people that say put cucumbers around the
Mm.
tree, like unpeeled, like just big cucumbers, and the cats are supposed to be afraid of those. Yeah, my cats could care less about them. And so we're on to the third thing that we've tried, which is tinfoil around the base of the tree.
Okay.
It works when they go up to it and walk on it,
Mhm.
but sometimes they just
Jump over it.
jump over it into the tree, directly into the tree. And for whatever reason, and I'm sure this is similar to other cold climates, ladybugs start coming out, like
Mm.
in Alabama when it gets cold here. Yes, Andrew. No, I look, am considering that. So ladybugs will fly into our tree and the cats will go insane because cats are like they can tell a
Yeah.
bug from 2 miles away and they will go insane and like jump into the tree. So we couldn't even put like all our normal ornaments up that I like to put up. I've got a glass ornament that is Abe Lincoln's bust, and I can't put it up because it'll get
Mhm,
destroyed,
mhm.
and I don't want Abe to get broken. It's a
It's like you
precious
have, like,
ornament.
1.5-year-old kids again.
Basically, it's
You
ridiculous.
just have
It's
to put up a bunch of, like, soft plushy toys.
like I would love like your dog's just like chilling,
Yeah.
doesn't even care about the tree. I love it.
She
Um,
was home alone out of the kennel for probably about 2 hours today,
mhm.
and not a
Didn't
thing,
even
left
care
my
about the
bedroom
tree.
door open, tree's
Nice.
fine. Yeah, she's actually turned out to be like, the best potty trained dog I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Garrison, I really appreciate. You should be in some type of like mourning right now, like walking
Yeah.
the earth in utter sadness. Being the FSU fan that you are,
I'd have
I,
called out of work this
I'm
whole week.
yeah, like called out for a month, like until all this is. I'm happy that you're here supporting the Deucecast Extra for a show you don't even watch called
I
Bass Reeves.
wonder, Garrus, maybe you can answer us in the chat if you,
Yes.
if there's any holes in the walls at your house, because there would be a few. Like, every time I think about it, I would just be like,
It's like one of those subjects like don't bring it up. It's like
yeah.
I just yeah, dude. I just it's in absolute
Like,
insanity. We
NFL football would have been was probably completely ruined for Garrison yesterday or 2 days ago.
yeah.
Like,
And
if
yet
I
look, and Dallas is even and Dallas is his team
Mhm,
just like mine, and they're having a pretty good season.
mhm.
And it's like hard to even celebrate that. Football's just, it's just yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just all a hot mess.
All I can say is this: that's the only team I don't want to win it all. Actually, I don't want Alabama either.
I don't want any of these
Michigan or Washington, I'd be just fine with.
I'm okay. Well, Michigan's they're a bunch of cheaters, but I mean, I guess everybody is. I don't know. I mean, Washington would be fine with me. I would like to see Washington win and Penix get the Heisman. I think that kid from LSU might get the Heisman though.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't.
it's Jaden Daniels. I
Yeah,
think I think
I
he's
don't
gonna
know.
win it on Saturday.
Which is whatever. But anyways, let's On to happier things, hopefully. I don't know. On to Bass Reeves, part 6. I mean, they are just plowing through this season.
Mhm.
Um, Good episode, kind of
Yeah.
slower, but
I kinda think this may have been my favorite episode of the season.
oh yeah, mostly for me because of Barry Pepper's performance, and of course he's Esau, and we found out this episode maybe some, you know, interesting information about who he could be. He's a bad dude, but couple of things to start off. Bass was not in a great place this particular episode. Um, he seemed just worn out, basically. Wouldn't you
Mhm.
say?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he deals with his, like, emotions and, like, kinda like I do, where, like, I just kind of bury my emotions until, like, once or twice a year, I'll just have, like, an explosion and be, like, totally fine after that. But I just bury everything deep down, and then I'll just let it explode, and then I'll just
Yeah.
continue to bury everything again, and that's kinda what we saw here, I think,
Oh yeah, big
was yeah.
time. Yeah, I mean, he was at a point where we really hadn't seen him. I mean, we'd seen him be like kind of low, being away from home, just not happy about being gone.
Wasn't happy about having to go back out on this one last week.
No, he was not. And he kept kind of getting from various different people kind of called like some pretty bad stuff, just basically doing the white man's bidding, even though he was a former slave. I mean, that type of stuff. Because he'd been arresting, black guys,
Mhm.
that were criminals. I mean, as he was, paid to do in a way. Um, and when he was dropping off that prisoner at the beginning of the episode to Esau, wasn't very happy about it.
No.
Um, and we find out later in the episode that that was warranted, like very much so,
Mhm.
like him being kind of nervous about the whole thing.
That, the line that Esau says about, "I promise you he won't walk all the way," is a little bit more biting now as well.
Yes, very much so. I mean, Barry Pepper was really good at playing a bad guy in this episode. Um, I heard some interesting stuff on an interview just in general about acting. So, a podcast I listen to, and sometimes I watch the YouTube version or whatever, called Real Blend. They get like the biggest names on there just because they're professional
Mhm.
critics, and so they had Alexander Payne on there talking about the holdovers. I promise this is going somewhere similar to what I was going to say about Barry Pepper, but Alexander Payne was making the point that a lot of times um, people underestimate how good actors are because they're just given lines on a page basically to read, and the actors interpret those lines. They may say them verbatim, but like the little things that they add to their performance makes the lines that much better. I mean, there's certain actors that are really good at that, and other actors that their line delivery is like the most wooden thing on the face of the earth, and
Mhm.
they're not the best. Like, I mean, I don't know, like Gina Carano or something. I mean, she's fun in Mandalorian. I like the character,
Mhm.
but her line delivery is just, she's not been doing the acting thing that long. Whereas, like, especially in the holdovers with Paul Giamatti, I mean, line delivery and the way he chooses to deliver those lines is everything. And I think Barry Pepper in this episode, lines were good, like written on the page, but just the like his accent, like he's really good
Mhm.
at a subtle southern accent. I can't necessarily tell like the region necessarily he's supposed to be from, but man, he was just so good. I mean, just everything about him in this episode was outstanding just because he really got under Bass's skin. Just
Mhm.
like every little word that he said was really good. Um
The dinosaur bone stuff was interesting in there too. Like,
Yeah,
so
well, it was so
I think
strange.
it's so dinosaurs were like discovered for the first time, um, right around there. Um,
Okay.
I think.
Right, like the 1860s or something?
1841.
1841. Okay.
Yes. Um, there's something I can't remember exactly what it was, but
Yeah, because Barry Pepper's character was almost equating them to the giants that were maybe mentioned in the Bible a little bit, like
Nephilim.
yeah, exactly. That's kind of like the way I felt
That's where
he
my
was
mind went
going.
as well.
Yeah, as soon as he said that, I was like, "Oh, okay, so he's well versed in the Bible." Um, Certainly probably more of a Pharisee than a believer, but I mean, but it was interesting to hear him equate those bones to the dead giants of the past, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had like a lot of really great lines.
Okay, you
And
know
it's
what? I may have been fooled by
oh, okay.
a meme, a
Oh,
popular meme. There's a meme out there about how George Washington never knew what
oh,
dinosaurs were. The word
right.
dinosaur was coined in 1841.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I think there were 1677. The first scientific account about a dinosaur fossil was not published until 1677 in Europe.
So,
Um,
who came up with the word dinosaur? I'm always interested, like, who comes up with the word dinosaur?
that is a
That is a crazy word to just randomly come up with. That's interesting.
paleontologist Richard Owen,
Oh, okay. Okay. That's interesting.
British. Yeah,
British dude. Okay.
it does come from two Greek words, um, dianos.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Okay. But yeah, he was just eating up the screen in
and
this episode.
Soros lizard. Okay.
And he wasn't in it that long.
No, he wasn't. I thought he was gonna be in it much longer.
Yeah, he sort of took that prisoner, left, headed towards wherever he was headed, and then we see we see Bass and his sidekick. What's his sidekick's name again? Billy
Yep,
Crow.
Billy Crow.
Yeah, we see them kind of go back through.
You don't have the medal for this, Billy Crow.
Yeah, he does have sort of a. He's got sort of like a mumbly accent, in a way
And he
that's
like really pops the B on Billy
yeah,
Crow.
Billy Crow. So they go back through, I guess, the Indian territory that Bass was staying in I guess part two or part one and two, with Sarah because they go to his old house.
It was that I didn't know if that was his old house
Yeah,
or if that was the remember the guy that him and Dennis Quaid burnt or that Dennis Quaid burnt? I didn't know if it was that guy's cousin. Remember that?
I
That
do remember that.
makes a
I
little bit
thought,
more sense, I guess,
yeah,
if it's
yeah, because he said he
he did
opened
say
up.
Sarah.
He said Sarah. Yeah, he opened up the door, was looking for Sarah. Billy Crow said something smells wrong about this
Yeah.
area. He goes to the kid's grave, which I thought it was interesting. It was an above ground grave. I was wondering if that was perhaps some Native American thing where they don't like to bury their dead in the earth, but maybe it was just a necessity at that time that they buried that kid above ground like that. I thought that was kind of strange. Andrew, so that's an interesting question. We kind of addressed that a little bit in the last episode. So originally, when this show was being conceived, the thought was that they were going to do that. Because Bass Reeves is a real person or was a real person, and they mentioned his name in 1883 that Bass Reeves was a lawman in a certain part of the country, not where the characters from 1883 were, which 1883 is definitely part of the Yellowstone franchise. So as the the creation of the show was ongoing. The guy that's the showrunner in an interview basically said that it's not technically part of the Yellowstone franchise. However, it would be more of a prequel to 1883 because this takes place from 1860 something to 1870 something. So that's kind of the timeline that we're in. And because Reeves was mentioned in 1883, you can say sure, this is what Star Wars fans would call canon adjacent.
Yeah, and I would think it would fall into the realm of historical fiction.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
while I think you can call 1883, 1923 historical fiction as well.
yeah. I
Even though
mean,
you're not fictionalizing historical real people, you're putting
yeah,
a fake family into real historical circumstances.
yeah.
So,
Like, I mean, there was a lot of stuff in 1883, like all the Native American schools and all that craziness that was happening. I mean, there was some truth to it, but it was certainly, you know,
mhm.
dramatized. Like, maybe not as violent as it was portrayed in 1883, but some of that stuff actually did happen. Maybe more up. I think didn't we, at the time. I think we found out maybe there was some crazy stuff that went up in Canada or something like that when we were researching
Yeah,
all that.
a lot of that
Um,
information has left my brain.
yeah, I mean that at that time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but anyway, so yeah, I mean it's tough. Andrew, I know you being a Star Wars fan would understand what I mean when I say canon adjacent. So, I mean, sure, it's not called Bass Reeves a Yellowstone story or something like that. It's but you know that guy existed. He was mentioned in 1883. There's a show now about him that is also executive produced by Taylor Sheridan, but Taylor's not running the show by any means. He's EP off to the side. His name only gets mentioned in the credits, not the pre-show credits often. So yeah, and what's interesting about this show is there's even a couple of other characters, like we mentioned in the last episode, that are based on either a real person or were a real person.
Mhm.
I mean, there's like shades of it. Now, this particular episode, there was one character that I was hoping was going to be a real person, and that was Braxton Sawyer, who he runs into at a
Mm.
bar, who's a Texas Ranger. Looked it up, not a real person at all, but I recognized that character actor immediately, Brian Van Holt. If you look him up, he's been in again a ton of stuff, and just several of the things that I've watched in the past. He's been in. He's a good character actor, and yeah, it's part of my head canon. Exactly, Andrew. So yeah, I was hoping he was a real Texas Ranger, but unfortunately, that guy's not a real Texas Ranger, which is fine. No big deal, I guess. But he was an interesting character because this is at a point where Bass was just in the lowest of low places. So they kind of go back to the town where that brothel is, which Billy is very happy about that because the woman he's in love with, who is a woman of ill repute, uh, Billy is in love with her, and you know they get to consummate that love in this particular episode.
Um,
Um,
we do get a real person appearance in this. I guess he was technically in last episode, but
yeah.
more prominent in this one with Deputy U.S. Marshal Ike Rogers, Justin Hurt Dunkley's character, the other
Oh,
black marshal.
the other black marshal. Yeah,
So he was
yeah.
a real person, which I just looked up.
That's
Uh,
interesting that they do that. Like they'll have like real characters, and then they'll randomly put Braxton Sawyer, which is a very like a name you think
mhm.
would be I don't know. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
Twitter.
sounds like a Texas Ranger.
Yeah, Andrew, I don't expect anyone to have premium just so they can interact with us on Twitter. I just broadcast it there for fun, just as another place to broadcast it. So no, please do not feel obligated in any way to get premium X or whatever. That's I don't want anybody to do that. But yeah, so that's cool that guy's, yeah, that Ike is a real person. But I wish like all these characters were based on real people. It would make it a little bit more interesting. But I guess they're just to move the story along. They just randomly choose who they want to be real and choose who they don't want to be real. Um, because like when you see an actor that you recognize on screen in a show like this, you expect them to be maybe like a based on a real
Mhm,
person. And when I recognized that particular character actor, I was like, "Oh, I bet this is a real
mhm.
guy." Looked him up and he wasn't.
I
But
liked that scene though. I
yeah,
it almost kinda pulled Bass out of it.
his
It
funk, yeah,
didn't, yeah, I
yeah.
don't know if it did, but,
Well, I think he was in a better place after that conversation that he had,
yeah.
and just about the job and about the trials that you go through when you're in law enforcement.
This badge wears as much as these chains did.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But he was looking for a fight, obviously, that whole episode, most of the episode, just because he was in kind of a dark place, and he got one. Apparently, so did we find out in a previous episode that he had a bounty on his head, or was that new
Yes.
information?
No, I
Okay,
do remember that. There was a poster, um, with
like who who put the bounty on his
one of
head?
the gangsters.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because usually
Not an
in
official, like, US
yeah,
government type of deal.
usually in a show like this, that would be what a bounty would be, is
Yeah,
like, the government or a US Marshal or something,
yeah,
so and obviously he's working for, the law, and so
yeah.
okay, so some gangster put a bounty on his head, and these guys, like, 5 people jumped him, um oh, no, I don't care to explain to Andrew. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'll rectify that later tonight. Sorry about that, Andrew. But, yeah, so I thought he wanted to get in a fight, but man, he ended up getting the crap beat out of him, and Billy
Mhm.
Crow kinda had to bail him out, which Billy Crow not holding back on shooting someone
No,
anymore.
it yeah. He,
He didn't like I guess
manned up in a couple ways this episode.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he, closed the deal with the woman of ill repute,
Mhm.
and, but I don't think that I have no indication that he, like, paid for that. I think that, like, she likes him. So, I didn't think that
Yes,
yeah,
yes. No, for sure. I
I didn't
agree.
think it was a business transaction, if
No,
you know what I mean.
no.
Um, so, I he takes out like 5 guys together basically, and so but they take the girl with them. They arrest that girl that was trying to kill him, but take out like her whole posse except for
Mhm.
her. So they I guess they take her back to whatever the main city is that everything's happening. Um yes, Lady of the Night. That's right, Andrew. Um but yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying the show in general. Um some plot points, because there's really only 2 episodes left, so they have to start wrapping up some of the story, and they kinda wrapped up the whole weird storyline that was going on with these 2 traveling, you know, these 2
Yeah.
people that were trying to, I guess, just get people on their side with what they're trying to do, which is to start a community of just black people, I guess. I mean, and so they kind of finished that particular storyline with
Did you catch
Edwin.
the name drop that they had in there
No, I did not.
of who was put on his poster on one of his
No,
pamphlets?
I did not.
Frederick Douglass.
Oh, Frederick, I did not
Mhm,
catch that name drop
mhm.
at all. Okay, that's interesting. I dig that. I should have been paying more attention because I didn't catch that at all. But Edwin Jones is kind of put kind of put in his place.
Mhm.
Like Bass gets home and Bass is like, "You're in my chair," and then the conversation really doesn't go well from that point on for Edwin. He keeps trying to sell Bass, but I mean, Bass ain't hearing any of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this whole scene is fantastic where Bass
Hmm.
walks in and, like, the courteous thing to do when the person of the household gets there, you get
Yeah,
up and you shake his hand and you, like, go greet him.
yeah,
He
yeah,
just
100%.
stayed sitting there, which is a crazy move. And,
Yeah.
like, I think that's just a great move for the writers to do because it just kinda shows that this guy is very arrogant and thinks he knows everything and doesn't really think that,
Yeah,
anybody is above him. And
yeah,
I did enjoy the little line of gospel that he throws in there about you're supposed to seat yourself at the end so you are raised
Right.
up and not instead of being put down.
Yeah.
But so I, I mentioned last week that I was a bit worried about where this maybe could go with these two characters, and I'm really glad that the worries were semi unfounded. It seems
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't know. I think a thing that makes like the Western genre
Hmm.
um distinct is that a lot of the times the character like your main characters um don't necessarily have a whole bunch of character development. You look at it like a Gary Cooper in High Noon,
Yeah.
where the whole world is changing around him, and he's the one
Hmm.
that refuses to change, and he's the one that just plants his feet and is like, "No, I know, I am right. I am right in this. I will not change, no matter what my odds are. This
Hmm.
is the right thing to do." And so, I think we're getting a bit of that with Bass Reeves as well, which I think
Yeah.
is a big plus for this. Um, and I think it's one of the few genres where like it's almost a good thing if you don't have, like, a character develop like, I didn't wanna see Bass Reeves become some sort of social justice warrior,
Right. Right.
um,
Right. Right.
type of character where he's like, "Yeah, I will go protect this Eden, and, like, I
Right.
think you guys are doing the right type of thing." Like, I'm
Mhm.
glad and the other part of that I liked is as soon as his wife figured out what they were doing, she just hopped right on and, like, took the lead and was like, "Nope, you're not doing this," and, like,
Right.
like one, you don't see that strong household presented in modern media very much, so that's a
No.
pleasant change to see.
Right. And to see his, I mean, like you're saying, to see his wife immediately support him,
Mhm,
like, and immediately say, "You're just wanting Bass because of his fame. You're wanting him as your poster child, basically, to try and get this new Eden off the ground. No, if this is what you've wanted all along, get out of my house," type of situation.
yes, and keep in mind, she's not very happy with Bass either.
No,
She doesn't
no,
put that out there for other people, which is, like, I think a great thing. Like,
right, yeah, yeah.
I don't know,
No, you're right.
she's
I
a
mean,
kick-ass wife.
she is a kick-ass wife, and that's something that you don't, like, see that often anymore. I mean, it's
Yeah,
always, like, spouses butting heads.
mhm,
Um, this feels more realistic just in the sense that, sure, maybe they don't agree on everything. She's not happy that he's gone all the time, but that stays in the household. That
it's
doesn't.
it's
Yeah,
realistic and it's traditional. They have their
yeah.
fights behind closed doors,
Right,
and
right,
then
right.
when they're not behind closed doors, they're presenting a secured, front.
100%, 100%. Yeah, no, I like it quite a bit,
Mhm,
and it's cool because knowing that David Oyelowo is so involved in
mhm,
the show, he's not just a hired actor. He's put his name on it from an executive producing standpoint, and he's really the one that wanted to make the show. Like,
mhm,
apparently, he had the idea for this show a while back, and when Taylor Sheridan started becoming so successful within this genre, not only making modern westerns with Yellowstone, but also like even making like 1883 and 1923. He used it as an opportunity to get this show off the ground. Um, because yeah, Bass Reeves was a real person, and it's a show that David, even before all these Taylor Sheridan shows, he tried to shop around, and no studio wanted to touch it just because the genre wasn't very vibrant at that time. And now that it's kind of back and people are enjoying it, and he can glom on in a way, or with Taylor Sheridan's company to
mhm.
help get it made, and it's doing really well. I mean, for Paramount Plus, I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of people are watching it. I mean, it's look, Taylor Sheridan still, even though there's all these weird problems going on behind the scenes with Yellowstone, people still trust him, at least from a creative standpoint, and are watching the shows that he's involved in. Um, but it just seems like Yellowstone's like cursed right now, which is unfortunate because the most recent thing was like his company is suing. Um, oh, what's the guy's name? The guy that plays um Oh, it's been so long since I watched Yellowstone. I can't remember the.
Describe him.
He and Beth are together.
Oh, Rip.
Yeah, Rip, exactly. So the actor that plays Rip,
Cole Hauser.
he's got this coffee company, and there's Taylor Sheridan's company is suing his coffee company for some reason. So there's like all this drama behind the scenes of between the actors and Taylor Sheridan. It's like they just are not fans of each other in real life, and they're trying to finish this show and work together still. It's just really frustrating. But I mean,
More Yellowstone drama. Taylor Sheridan's ranch is suing Cole Hauser's coffee company. Boss
yeah,
Ranch, which serves as a filming location for Yellowstone and its spinoffs, has accused the fan favorite actor of trademark infringement.
it's so stupid. I'm just like, why can't these people just get along and finish Yellowstone so we can freaking get on with it? I mean,
Mhm.
it's just because I don't know. We're not going to see more Yellowstone until November of next year, which is kind of ridiculous. But I don't know. Luckily, we've got a few shows to tide us over until that happens.
I mean, Sheridan's just gotta lose this. I'm looking at the logos right now, and, like, they're
They're not.
so it's like a
Yeah.
he's got Boss Ranch coffee, which
Yeah.
is a B on top of an R,
Right.
and Hauser's is Free Reign Coffee, which is an F on top of an R. That's
Right.
just how brands work.
I know. Right. I mean, what's the problem? I don't understand it. It's all kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. So the other like big thing with this particular episode that they're at least continuing this storyline of the whole Mr. Sundown thing, which when that criminal was describing Mr. Sundown and saying that he's this guy that just kills black people,
Mhm.
um, I thought he was I didn't think it was real. Like I didn't think Mr. Sundown was a real thing. But now apparently we find out that it is definitely a real thing, and it's alluding to that Esau is Mr. Sundown, basically. I think they kind of spelled that out without saying it. I think we'll see that. Yeah, that's right. Yellowstone merch. I need to. Sorry, there's your Yellowstone merch, Brian. There you go. I just didn't want to wear a hat tonight. Sorry. Um, but welcome. Sundown laws were real. I don't know if that's what it's alluding to, but maybe Brian's more of a historian than I am when it comes to that type of stuff. But um, that's maybe what they were alluding to as sundown laws. But I don't know. I doubt it. I think this is just
I'm
a
assuming sundown laws were, like, certain colored people could not be out after sundown?
right. Maybe that's what he's alluding to. But I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure. Um, oh yeah, killing people at sundown, but in this case, it's specifically black people are basically just disappearing, and so that's what Bass finds out that happens to the prisoner that he turned over to Esau. That guy never made it to his point. All that came back were his boots. So Bass finds that out, and
And Esau blames or says that he was delivered boots.
he was delivered boots. Yeah, exactly. So it was a little trickery there on Esau's part, but so we've only got like 2 episodes left, and things are definitely ramping up, and there'll be a reckoning, I'm sure, between Bass and Esau, which I think we obviously know who will win that, but it'll be interesting to at least see how we get there, because Barry Pepper has been really good, and I want to see more of him. He reminds me a lot of the guy that was in Justified, not the
Not Oliphant?
not Oliphant, the other
I've
guy
never
that.
seen Justified, that's
Oh, okay. Yeah, that particular actor that's in Justified with Oliphant is really good, and Barry
okay.
Pepper is reminding me a lot of him in this particular episode. He's sort of the antagonist
Mhm.
to and so he's just really good. I just am impressed with him because we haven't seen much of him. In general, he hasn't been in a lot of things that I've seen. He pops up here and there, and in this case, he popped up again, and they're using him really well. He's making the show a lot better. Um, but that's kind of all I had. Did you have anything? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. Yeah,
There is a
I
subplot that I kind of don't care about with the
mm,
daughter, with
yeah,
Bass's daughter, and
yeah.
that's the one subplot.
I will say that that dude standing in the trees, we saw it in the preview last week.
That's
Creepy dude,
creepy.
creepy looking dude.
Yeah, I
Gives me the
thought
weirds.
I don't know what that's all. That's like a third subplot that I don't know what that's all about.
Well, that is one of the guys that her boo thing fought.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
he's
I
looking
got
for revenge on
looking for revenge.
yeah,
Okay. It's that's one of the. It's like they feel like they have to have a love story somewhere in all of these, and
yeah,
that's the one that it's Bass's daughter and this other guy are is the love story, but I kind of just don't care. And when you're in presenting the audience an 8 episode season, less storylines. Don't have like B or C and D plots in when you only have 8 episodes.
right, right.
Just tell us like the story of Bass. Tell us don't tell my mom I want to play GTA 6. Andrew. Andrew, you're a funny man. I've never played any of those games.
I
I'm not a
play
gamer though either, so
as a kid, I would go to friends slash cousins' houses, and I have probably played less than like 5 hours of GTA in my life.
yeah. I mean, gosh, the series is what, like 20 years old now? I mean, it's been out for a long time, right? I mean, they were making GTA. PS1 had one
Oh
of those
yeah,
games.
I mean, I
Yeah.
remember getting in trouble. So my dad's cousin used to own a bar in Kansas, and
I love all your cousins. It's like
they had like a house next door that sometimes they'd sleep at if like it was a late night and like
mhm.
open late type of deal. And their kid, I went over there and I was playing GTA
Gotcha.
with my second cousin,
Yeah.
who 5 or 6 years older than me, and my parents came in. They're like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Killing hookers. What are you doing?"
Oh, Brian, that would be funny. A Fast and Furious crossover with
Mm,
GTA. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a tendency to just like to watch people play video games. Like I joke that I was doing Twitch way before Twitch even came out.
yep,
Um, and I don't know if you've ever listened to the Deucecast. I've talked about over the years watching producer Tommy play video games, playing Zelda and stuff like that. And that was just never a game that was around when I was watching because I was more of a Nintendo kid. And so I played all the Nintendo games. They were certainly more kid friendly games like all the Mario games and Luigi and all of that
mhm,
stuff, Smash Brothers, Zelda. So PS1 was not something that I really had much exposure to. And so GTA just never, I'm surprised they've never done a movie. It seems like that's like the franchise that you would want to make a movie out of, as popular as it was at the time.
yeah,
Like it had its moments where it's like the most super popular thing.
mhm.
Um,
Even like a game like Red Dead Redemption, I'm shocked we haven't had a movie
yeah,
of.
yeah, you would think, and that could just be like Sony slow rolling, and maybe they are going to make one eventually, but because they finally did Uncharted, it took them 10 plus years to finally get an Uncharted movie made. So I bet they will do Red Dead Redemption because that seems like strike while
It's
the iron
prime
is
for it.
hot
Oh, for
when
sure.
when it comes to Western. Like Westerns are pretty popular right now, thanks to Taylor Sheridan and Kevin Costner, who's going to have his 2 part
Yeah.
Horizons mega Western thing that I hope is amazing, but I don't know. It could be. Dreamcast. Funny story about Dreamcast. I bought one of those just to resell. I never actually took it out of the box. I bought it, resold it. I think I've got a Switch. I mean, my kids play Switch every once in a while, but I just I've never really been a gamer. Not my thing.
I my first system was a GameCube. And I played the crap out of Madden '06, Super Smash Bros. Melee,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Melee was a great game.
Mario Kart Double Dash, which I will
Yes. Oh, Double Dash was
yeah,
awesome.
the best Mario Kart. I think it's way better than the
Still,
N64 one.
still bet,
It's way
still
better
the
than
best.
anything that they've had on the Wii that I've played.
I agree.
Um, yeah, it
And really, Melee, I think. I mean, the Smash Brothers that they've got for Switch is pretty good. But Melee was great game. I mean that really was a great game. Just like Double Dash. That the GameCube was a fantastic system.
it was.
It doesn't get the credit it deserves.
The I will still say that I think it's probably because it was my first Madden game, was my favorite Madden
Mhm.
game.
I
That
never
was
had
the
too much with the Maddens,
yeah.
but I do like I have played them in the past, but I never
Yeah.
did too much. Yeah.
Pikmin, do you remember Pikmin?
Oh
Pikmin was
yeah.
a fun game.
Yeah, Pikmin was good. I
Um,
remember when that came out.
there was a good
That was
Sonic
one of the
game on
first.
there as well.
Yeah, what else was good on GameCube? Well, I think the first Luigi's Mansion was on GameCube, if I'm not mistaken. Um, maybe because the second
I
Luigi's
think it
Mansion,
was on the f
yeah,
Luigi's Mansion was on GameCube. The
yeah,
first one was,
that was
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. My
Um,
brother more played that one than I did.
oh, this is interesting. Wonder why they did that.
Like the toilets flushing backwards in
Yeah, counterclockwise
Australia?
spin. I'm
Huh.
not a computer guy, so I have no idea like what the significance of that is. But apparently, that's a fun fact from Brian. I mean, so,
What was it? If you held certain buttons, you could make the GameCube like load-in thing sound different and do different things if you were depending on the game that was in.
really?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. See all these like, yeah, I don't know all those little tips. That's interesting. I've been watching a lot of there's this Retro Rick YouTube channel that I've been watching a lot of, and he owns a video game store in Arkansas. And so he's are you serious, Andrew? Dude,
No way.
Andrew, look it up, dude. The Nintendo GameCube was a
Oh, it
freaking awesome
I
system.
think my brother has ours, but it still works.
Don't
Like,
don't sell it.
that's
They're
a
worth
system
a
that
lot of money.
they do not, like, go bad.
No,
And
no,
the
they don't.
controllers don't go bad either because those things were absolute weapons at sleepovers.
Yeah. No,
Like,
you're right. I mean,
it would be like whoever fell asleep first, they were getting a GameCube controller whipped at them, and
yes,
not the
yes,
small end, the big end.
yes, yes, yes. Dude, I would freaking love to go to his game store that he has. I think it's in Conway, Arkansas or something like that. Oh no, I understand, Andrew, but like the classic Nintendo systems to
Andrew, I know
me
what an
are
N64 is. That was
are
before my time.
unstoppable. Like I understand like graphically like the PS5 and the Xbox One and their next gen systems are amazing. I get it. I understand like that, but Nintendo just I don't know. They're just awesome. Like all around. I mean, I don't love the Switch, but
I've
I
never
I
played a Switch, I don't
I
think.
I mean, I had a during the pandemic, Animal Crossing was my go-to. I played a freaking
Animal Crossing was a GameCube game too.
it was originally,
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
So when the new Animal Crossing came out for Switch, I was absolutely obsessed with it during the pandemic because I mean, I happened to unfortunately be out of work at that same time, and so hours, hours of Animal Crossing. Um, yeah, no, dude, I get you, Andrew, but I'd go on YouTube and look up videos about it. It was a great system. I
I'm trying
mean,
to remember what the Sonic game was. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? I don't know if that was it. Maybe it wasn't
there was probably a
Sonic.
couple Sonic
There
games
were
on
probably a
GameCube.
couple, but there was
Yeah.
one, and maybe it's not Sonic that I'm thinking of. Maybe it's something completely different, but there was one where, like, you had, like, side little quests where you would, like, grow different, like, animals or something. I
Hmm.
can't fully remember this memory.
Hmm.
I'll have to ask my brother and report back on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a Sonic guy, so I never bought
Mhm.
any of those Sonic games. I mean,
That's the only one I've ever played.
yeah, I don't know.
Um, yeah.
I was always just whatever Mario game, whatever Donkey Kong game, like anything like that. That was kind of my wheelhouse. I never really went, and even with Zelda, I would buy the games just so I could watch producer Tommy play them. Like, I never played them myself.
Mhm.
Like, I just wanted to watch producer Tommy play them.
Yeah.
Especially for 64, I loved
Mhm.
Majora's Mask or watching Tommy play
I
Majora's Mask.
think it was in high school that we got an Xbox 360.
Right.
And then when I was in college, I bought a PS4.
I think I mean, and I'm not saying this to like deride Nintendo or whatever, but I think real gamers probably play PS5 and Xbox One.
Actually,
Like,
I would say real gamers play on their PC
well,
is I think technically what they do, but they play
uh,
the Xbox, PlayStation games on their PC.
yeah, I mean that
Even
could
with
be,
they'll hook up a PlayStation or an Xbox controller to their PC, but
yeah.
the ones that are, like, super serious about it, they're like, "Oh, the processing power on the PC is so much better." And I'm like, "Whatever, nerd.
I
Let me
guess you're
just
probably
kill some
right. Yeah.
zombies."
I mean, maybe you're right there, but I think from a console standpoint,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think like Nintendo dude like myself would call myself a gamer. I like the Nintendo
yeah,
games every once in a while. I
yeah.
don't, but I never like Rhett is a gamer, even though he probably doesn't put in as much hours as he would
Mhm.
want to. He's a gamer. Like, he knows all the next gen stuff and the new games and stuff like that that I don't keep up with anymore. Um, which is why we have a video game channel in the Discord for all those gamers. I don't ever really like chime in on that channel because I don't know anything about games
Yeah,
nowadays.
no, that's a channel that I will wait a couple days and I have like 150 plus messages. I'm like, I don't know what any of y'all are saying, and I just scroll through to get them unread.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I stood in line for one on
We did have a
on
Wii. We did have a
yeah.
Wii. Wii Sports was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that system I was not in love with. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't like the whole controller thing and the uh, I w it made them a lot of money. I mean, it
yeah,
was a popular system for sure, but I never fell in love with Wii like I did like the older like
yeah.
GameCube and Nintendo 64. Absolutely in love with those. Switch, I like more than Wii, but I'm still very interested to see what Nintendo will do next. And I
The
don't even know
big
how we got
positive
down this, but I mean,
with the Wii was that you could plug the GameCube controllers into the top of the Wii, and it could play
mhm.
the GameCube discs. So my
Oh, that's
brother and I
true.
could play different games at the same time,
That's
finally.
right. It was, like, backwards compatible in that way,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Yep.
Like, you could still do GameCube stuff with the
Yep.
Wii, even though the Wii discs were, like, CD
Yep.
size.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Backwards compatibility, apparently, like, one in watching this Retro Rick station on YouTube, or channel, I guess, on YouTube, they, talk about that the PS3, the 1st gen PS3 that was backwards compatible still is the most sought after system,
Hmm.
because you could play
PS2 and maybe PS1 games on it,
some
right?
PS1. I don't
Okay.
think they would work all the time,
Mhm.
but definitely PS2. And yeah, like, the new systems are, some of them don't even have, like, a disk drive anymore. Like, I think most
Yeah.
people are doing
Like, you have to
streaming stuff
buy,
only.
like, specific like, they
Yeah,
sell 2 different consoles, disc or
that's
no
dumb.
disc. Yeah, which
You know
is
you know me with physical media. I
yeah, I
can't
mean,
do just streaming stuff.
I
I'm not
mean,
about it.
so maybe it was last year, maybe about this time, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna get back into playing Madden." I would that's kind of how
Sports game, yeah.
yes, I would play Madden every football season, and that's how I would really get to know the Bills roster or whatever
Oh,
like,
that
whatever
makes sense.
team.
Yeah, makes sense.
I was like, "Man, I feel disconnected." And I got it, and holy crap. It's like, I got the disc and everything, and it still took, like, 48 hours for the game to load into the freaking
Right.
thing, and I was like, "What is this? I have the disc." Like, this is crazy, it should just be plug and play.
Yeah, I
Made me
do
feel
miss,
really old, my
look,
reaction to it.
I mean, I'm a cartridge fan in all honesty.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I miss an old Nintendo 64
Yeah.
cartridge, but
Yeah.
that's just me. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I had kept all my systems over the years. I've gotten rid of all of them over the years, but I probably should have kept them in hindsight. I mean, because everything comes back
Mhm.
as far as that stuff is
And I
concerned.
gotta
But
say, if you're looking for a good, fun drinking game as an adult over 21,
yes,
Beerio Kart is all time.
what is it?
It's called Beerio Kart.
Beerio Kart?
Yes, so you play
What?
Mario Kart, and all like you can do 4 people. You have to finish a whole beer before the race is over, but
Okay.
you cannot drink and drive.
Oh, interesting.
So your vehicle has to can't be moving when you're drinking. It's great.
That's
My go-to
hilarious.
strategy is it goes 3, 2, 1, and I start to chug, and I chug as long as I can, and everybody else gets off to a big lead, but then I
Right.
catch up, and then if I, like, fall off, as soon as,
Yeah.
like, the little guy puts me back on, I chug again as long as I can, and then I go again. And yeah, it's a great game.
That is hilarious. That's a good party
Great
game.
game. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Bass Reeves Part 6. I don't know how we got off into video
Look,
games.
when it's only 2 of us and we have 1 episode to dissect, we're
Right,
gonna just have to
right.
do some tangents if we want these to
No,
be an
I
hour.
understand. I totally no, I'm for it. I'm totally for it. If Garrison had been on here, it would have been a lot of FSU conversation.
Look,
But
on Saturday, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I was very tempted to message you and say, "Hey, you wanna talk about the college football playoff for half the episode?"
I mean, we could have easily done that, but yeah. No, Andrew,
Andrew, no.
Andrew, don't go down
No.
that road. We're
No.
not at
No.
we're not
No.
we're not condoning it. Brian, dude, you're not even a real Bama fan. I don't know why you're saying that. He's- you're supposed to, at bare minimum, if you were to choose a fan in Alabama, Auburn should be your fandom, Brian. But it just because we've got family that has Auburn ties, but
Go Blue, go Huskies.
yeah, sorry, Andrew, I can't pull for Texas either. Even though I've got Texas ties in a way, I can't pull for Texas either. Sorry, Andrew. All right, so we will definitely be back next week to talk about the penultimate episode. I mean, part 7. Um, oh man, they've already got a description up on IMDb.
No.
I will not read it though. I will not
Okay.
read it. So yeah, looking forward to it. We'll be back next week, and then really like right around the corner. I mean, we're gonna be doing some double episodes because Percy Jackson starts pretty soon. Yeah, starts on the 20th. So on the 26th, we will have a double episode. We'll have the finale of Lawman and the first 2 episodes, I believe, of Percy Jackson.
Wow.
So Garrison will be joining us for sure on the day after Christmas, the
I'm gonna have to
26th.
start working out if I wanna look good in my Hercules costume.
Oh, you're gonna get that Hercules. Wait, is Hercules in Percy Jackson?
I don't know.
Be
I've never
awesome.
read them.
I haven't either. Be awesome though. Roth, I have to say, I was a little bit disappointed in y'all's reaction to Napoleon. Um, I I wanted you to like it. You ended up rating it pretty high on Letterboxd though. Didn't you give it 3.5?
I gave yes, 3.5. The number I gave it was a 72.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I don't know if my number system correlates how everybody wants
Right,
to the
right, right,
star
right.
system that everybody thinks I should have,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but in
No.
the 70s is a 3.5 to me.
Okay,
In the
okay.
80s is a 4.
Interesting. Interesting.
90 to 94 no, 90 to 95 is a 5.5.
Four and a
96
half.
and
Four.
above
Yeah.
is a 4.5.
Yeah,
96 and
yeah.
above is a 5 star.
Okay, okay. So you put a lot of weight into that half star.
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right,
Yes.
that's fair. I mean, because that's what 3.5 is what I gave it, but I really enjoyed the movie. So when I saw you rate it 3.5, I was like, oh, he liked it. He's gonna come on his show and he's gonna be a proponent for it. But I get y'all's thoughts about it. I totally understand. It was a really odd movie. Um,
And it the oddness isn't even what made me I don't dislike it, I'm just very apathetic towards it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's so
It won't be in my top 10 or
forgettable.
anything.
I
Yeah.
think Joaquin Phoenix's performance was average and very forgettable as well. Like, I don't think he was anything special in it. Um, yeah, I was I wasn't
Yeah, I mean,
disappointed, but I enjoyed my time in the theater.
it was almost like Joaquin didn't know what to do with the character,
Yeah,
and so he just was kind of weird.
yeah.
I think, like, from an acting standpoint, I liked Vanessa Kirby better than him. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, I think she's always, like, good.
yeah.
Um, but he like I don't know. I made the analogy in the podcast that the whole movie felt like you were a rock skipping across a pond, and
Yeah,
you
that makes
didn't
sense.
really get
Yeah,
to. I just think it's such a mistake when you're doing a biopic to try to tell such a long period of somebody's life. I'm
I
glad they
agree.
didn't start with Napoleon as a kid, but
Yeah,
from
yeah,
him taking power to him losing it and dying is a long time, and it's hard to make
and
an
it felt
impactful
rushed.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
maybe that 4-hour cut that
yeah,
Apple TV is gonna have will be
which
better.
is why I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I probably will too. I don't know if I'll watch it in one sitting, but I mean,
Yeah.
I might like because most of the movie obviously will have seen already. I mean, and so I guess the 2 hours or whatever hour
I'm
and
hoping they release it in, like, February or March, and, like,
yeah, I was yeah,
most of this movie will be, like, out of my head, and then I'll be like, "It's a new experience," type of thing.
yeah. I mean, I'll certainly watch it. I mean, I still haven't watched um the Tarantino one that Netflix did with the
What?
Hateful Eight.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant a new Tarantino. I'm like, "Holy
No, no,
crap." It's
where they released like a longer version of the
yeah,
Hate
like a four-part.
and they did it like
Yeah,
episodic.
yeah.
I
I have
still
not
haven't
watched that either.
Dave's watched it and he said it's good. I just haven't had a
Mhm.
chance to watch it. But so I am interested in what you guys are doing next though. That was an interesting choice on that was Tate that chose that, right?
Sage.
Oh,
Sage.
that's right. That was Sage that chose
Yep.
that.
Yep, we're doing the way back.
Yeah.
It is the Good Day for a Movie podcast, by the way, from
Oh, my bad.
2010,
Yeah.
way the way back, not from
Not
2020 with Ben Affleck.
now have you seen the Affleck one?
I have not, I want to.
It's
It's
good.
one it's one that I was gonna watch because I figured he was gonna get an Oscar nominee, and then
Yeah.
he didn't, and then he didn't get a Ducey nominee, and I was like, "I gotta watch all these Duceys, I gotta watch all
Yeah.
these Oscars."
I in hindsight, I wish I would've nominated
Yeah.
him because I did not appreciate Sage scoffing at Ben Affleck, though, because he did for just a moment.
Mhm.
Didn't appreciate that much because Affleck's been good lately.
I
Uh,
don't know if you heard it, Tate also said that the new one looks like it's crap. They're
that's too
so
bad.
prejudiced against certain people, and Ben Affleck's one of
Ben
those
Affleck's
people.
one of them. Well,
Mhm.
I mean, look, Ben Affleck, he for a while was making crap. I mean, but I think he's certainly come back. Although I think that Robert Rodriguez movie, Hypnotic, that he did this
Mm.
year, I think it was
I
this
think it
year.
was this year, yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but it seemed like that was sitting on the shelf and they just threw that out there. But
Yeah.
I don't know. But I am looking forward to the next episode because I may actually watch the movie first before because I haven't
Mm.
seen the way back that way back.
Okay, and Doctor
Um,
Earl talks about this movie all the time. Every time the 2020 Way Back is brought up, he's like,
he
"Oh, I
saw
love
that.
that movie." I'm pretty
Oh,
sure that it's a
oh,
Deucecast memory I have in my head
okay.
that
All
he's
right.
like,
All
"Now
right.
this is the one with Ed Harris and
Ed
Saoirse
Harris.
Ronan," and
Yeah.
you guys are like,
Well, he
"No,
likes Saoirse
Doctor
Ronan,
Earl."
so that
Yeah,
that tracks that he's
yeah.
probably seen that. So I'll check that
It
out.
is streaming on Prime.
Yep. We have got so I'm looking forward to that. A good day for a movie podcast is always a good listen. If you are a podcast person, definitely listen to that. The Deucecast movie show has got an epically long reflections that's releasing tomorrow. That people I recommend
I was
like
this
two parting it.
close to joining the link,
That would have made it even longer.
but I was editing our podcast and
No,
recording our
yeah, you would
podcast,
have
so I
seen an exasperated Dr. Earl if you had joined. Only because in his mind, if there's a fourth person on Reflections, that means epically long.
Mhm,
It's already epically long, and it's just because Dave and I, well, we hadn't recorded a Reflections
mhm.
since like October. So we were doing a little bit of a catch up, and David and I had seen a lot of movies between us. Earl had only seen like 10, as per usual. But there was still some good conversation in there about a lot of different movies. So
Mhm.
that releases tomorrow as all of our no, not 4 hours, Andrew, like 240 or something like that, which is still pretty long. I recommend breaking it up into two parts. Just we're not going to release it that way because man, we have got our Christmas episodes coming up, our annual episode. We're trying to get Kaufman on. We love having her on during the holidays. We're gonna have Garrison on for the gifts
Mhm.
episode coming up. So we're looking forward to all of that. But like I said, I appreciate the chat hanging out with us, even though I know you guys don't watch Bass Reeves. I appreciate Brian and Andrew hanging out pretty much for the whole time. Garrison even stopped in.
I do also wanna plug the Food for Thought cast that I was on last week.
Yes. Oh, dude, that was so much fun.
Fast food
I
bracket.
loved listening to that.
36 different fast food restaurants. We narrowed it down. Chef Steve, Melissa, and we narrowed it down to the very best.
I'm just not. I won't. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll say that I'm not a proponent of the number one choice. I
I
I
just
don't eat there often. I've
see,
eaten there, of course, in my life several times, but it's not ever my go-to.
they're
Um,
one of the in my opinion, they're one of the few fast food restaurants that their quality has gone up over time.
and I would agree with that. They opened a new one because the previous one had burned down.
Mm,
It's one of those stories where you're
mhm.
like, I think you probably burned that down for insurance
Yeah,
purposes.
yeah, yeah.
And so they rebuilt a new one. It looks sharp. It looks nice.
Mhm.
I've never. It's just not my go-to.
I
It's just.
I think
But,
it's the
but I
best
recommend people listening.
of the big 3, it's the best fast food burger.
All right. Okay. And that could be like maybe I need to get burgers from those three places
Mhm,
and finally do just like a taste test
mhm.
and go all in. I mean, because their well, this will spoil who it is because their slogan for a while
Yeah,
was a certain
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and I wonder if that's still true when it comes. I bet it is. I'm sure that they still
I
do
think it
that.
is too. I think I've heard it recently.
I will say, randomly, so my youngest daughter likes their chicken nuggets.
Oh,
Pretty
very good chicken nuggets.
pretty big fan of those.
Spicy chicken nuggets,
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, and I haven't had those before. The toy that they had at the time was Muscle in the kids meal,
Okay.
was the mini Muscles, which that's a toy from, like, the '90s and '80s from when I was a kid, but it was DC characters. So it was like
Oh,
Superman, Wonder Woman, and, it was like the Mighty Muscles. I don't know if you've seen those, like, they're just plastic and they're one color. These happen to be blue. The ones I've got from when I was a kid that I still have in my closet to the left of me are like a pinkish, like I'm sure Brian knows what I'm talking about, like the little Mighty Muscle characters. So I was pretty
I
hyped
think I can
when I
kinda
saw
picture
that.
them.
Yeah, I was pretty hyped when I saw that was the toy that they had. Because I honestly didn't know they did toys. Because you always hear about like their competitors'
Yeah,
toys.
yeah.
You
I
never
didn't know that
hear.
either. I didn't know that either.
I had no idea that they had like a kids meal toys. So I was pretty hyped when I saw it. But anyways, yes, please everyone go listen to Food for Thought podcast. And that particular episode is a lot of fun. Just hearing all of the, especially like when you guys were talking about the regional fast food
Mhm.
restaurants that I wasn't very familiar of. That one that you have in your area that starts with an R,
Runza,
ru- that I want
Runza.
like badly.
Yes.
That
Yes.
it looks like a souped up hot pocket, basically.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, it's pretty much a beer rock is I don't know if you're familiar with, like, a beer
See,
rock.
I'm not.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a German dough
It
stuffed of meat. Like,
exactly. It
yeah,
looks amazing. I
yeah.
saw the
It's
picture of it. I
they've
want.
got the crinkle cut fries. You can go with the frings, which is the onion
Yeah.
rings, fries combo.
I need to find like
Um,
the closest one. Like, am I going to have to drive to Wyoming or Colorado to
well,
get one of those?
so they are actually from Nebraska is
Well,
where they
that's
originate from.
still pretty far
I was gonna
from
say
me.
yes. Let's see
Have
if
they
I can
expanded into the South at all? Have they come
I
down
am
into
pulling up
because
their
freaking
locations.
I want like meat stuffed in dough like that or whatever sounds
Yep.
amazing.
Okay, they're gonna be a pain in the butt.
Oh, their website.
I will
You just
report back next week
okay,
slash
okay.
off air.
That's fine. But anyways, that particular restaurant sounded amazing. So yeah, let's say so. Here's your assignment, viewers. Good day for a movie podcast. Of course, the Deucecast movie show. And then Food for Thought podcast. The most recent episode, really all the episodes are fun, but the most recent one's about fast food. It's a fast food tournament, and it's definitely worth your time to listen to that.
Kansas, Iowa, Colorado,
I mean, Iowa, that's not that far.
Council Bluffs, and Clarenda.
All right. I mean, Iowa's a cesspool, but I mean, I would drive to
You can
Iowa.
go see Ozzy Nate.
Yeah. I could. You're right. I could find out like what part of Iowa he lives in and go have a beat. Why isn't it in the South? They need to come on down. They're it sounds like they want to, like they're getting close. Like so anyways. We'll be back next week for sure though. To talk about the penultimate episode of Bass Reeves and whatever other random thing that we're going to talk about. I appreciate everybody listening and viewing us this evening. And if you want to do us a huge favor, I would love you guys to share the episode, like the episode, but most importantly, subscribe if you have not subscribed. It's we do a lot of television shows, but we have breakout episodes sometimes where we do movies.
One's coming this month.
We've got one later this month. I think we're releasing that episode on a Thursday, the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. Because like I said, on the 26th, we're doing Bass Reeves and Percy Jackson. So on the 28th, yes, we are going to talk about the final DCEU film, Aquaman, Love and Thunder. What's it called?
Lost Kingdom, I think.
Lost Kingdom. Yeah, Lost, maybe. I don't know what it's called. Aquaman 2. I mean, it's finally over. The DCEU. My man will finally be put to bed with Aquaman 2, and then James Gunn will get to do whatever he wants to after that. So it'll be interesting. Roth, it was fun. Thanks for hanging out. I know we did a lot of unexpected video game talk, and neither of us are very familiar with video gaming in general. So I'm sure it was riveting conversation. It was for us. So I appreciate you hanging out with me, and we will be back next week for sure. Talk to you guys later.